Hey, to the person watching this. So if you saw this post, you're probably watching this webinar based on me going to share the secret sauce to how we get so many freaking insane results. So excited to run through this. I'm going to just do this off the cuff, like no retakes, no filter. So if any kids around, please, I do swear a lot. I don't want to offend anyone. So let me run you through it stage by stage. But firstly, just going to give you a bit of insight to who actually I am, Jake Jones. I'm really just a nerd who loves getting insane jaw-dropping transformations. That's my whole gig. Literally been in the space of online coaching now for the past 4.5 years. I've been a personal trainer since I was 16. Literally only job I've ever had, probably a job I ever will have. So been doing this and all about getting photo shoot results. And I've got a bit of a unique method, I would say, behind it that really gives the best outcome towards getting these insane results. And I'm going to give you absolutely freaking everything in this training. And in zero pitch, all I want you to do is put it into action, because one of the slides I'll run you through in a sec is all about implementation. I'm going to give you loads of information here. I'm going to give you the exact calorie targets that I use for the current Beyond team who get these insane results. I'm going to run through the training methods that I use for the current team, the supplements that I use for the current team, lifestyle targets, how to set up deadlines and milestones, and even actual case studies of the team at the end of the video as well. And again, all of this is just information. So the best you can do on the back of this, take crap load of notes. I would say shed loads, but crap's probably even worse. Take loads of notes. Any questions, you've got the green light to ask me on. Please just drop me a DM, ask any questions about certain points if it's not clear, not relevant, or just need a bit more of an understanding. And go and implement, because proof's in the pudding. The way I coach, in terms of the way we deliver the coaching at Beyond, it works. And I'm very confident if you gave it a minimum of 80%, you can achieve insane results like this. So first off, I'm going to run you through the Beyond foundation. So we've got 3 frameworks behind Beyond that really helps us get the most insane results possible. And the first one, we call it literally the 3 foundations. And basically how this works is that we have a bit of a auditing process when someone first joins the coaching. And it's always good to know your strength versus your weakness, because the strength we can double down on. The weakness is the refining point that we need to level the result up. So every component in this triangle has its own unique method to help you gain that result. So first up, you've got your training. So constantly in the gym or training from home, the goal is to have you train at least 3 to 5 times a week, consistently, and progress in the results. So if your training's in a very, very good spot, you're consistently in the gym, you're training 3 to 5 times per week, perfect. Mark yourself down as a green, because you know that is a strength. Then we have lifestyle, and lifestyle comes down to steps, sleep, stress management, everything that's going to just kind of aid the result itself. So let's say, for example, is that we're not perfect in this sense. Let's say that we only sleep 4 to 5 hours per night. We've got a crazy work-life balance. We're stressed out 24/7. Sleep quality is in a really bad spot in there as well. I would probably give yourself a bit of an orange, because it's not great. It's not perfect, but it's not horrendous. It's not terrible. So that's one that we know we need to help refine with. We need to help give the extra 1 to 2% to turn it into a green. And then the last one, which I think everyone knows what's going to come at this stage, your nutrition. So your dieting process. If you've not tracked a single calorie for God knows how long, and you've literally had a Pizza Hut, Domino's, Big Mac, Burger King last night, I'll probably myself as a red. Not as from a sense that it's a bad thing having a takeout, but if we don't know exactly where your calories are, you don't know where your starting point is. So if we're currently not on point with your diet, we're not eating good, valued, healthy foods, we're not fueling your body with the right food sources, that's the weakness point. That's the point that we need to refine. And then again, the goal is, by the end of this webinar, you should have a better understanding of how to make sure every single one is green, on point, benefiting the goals, but most importantly, getting the goals. That's the first one, the 3 foundations. The next one, which is my favorite, is the 1% rule. And basically how this works is that every single week, you need to be looking about how can we increase the results by a minimum of 1%. And the reason behind this is that every kg, every pound you do drop, you're just going to start getting closer and closer and closer to what we call a limbo/plateau period. And basically what this is where if we're not progressing the workouts, not progressing the nutrition, we're not progressing your lifestyle, eventually that plateau point hits to everyone. No one can avoid it, unfortunately. Every now and again, you'll probably see your scale weight dropping, plateau hits, and then we need to break that plateau to get dropping again. And this comes from increasing by at least 1% week on week, so you're never going to hit that plateau period. So a few examples behind it. Training sessions, prime example. If you're lifting the same weights every single week in the gym, you're going to hit that plateau period. You have to be progressively overloading the weights you're using in the gym to make sure that you're, again, progressing yourself within the gym sessions. Let's say your step count, let's say that for the last 6 weeks, you've been hitting 10,000 consistently. That weight's now plateaued. It's not because you're not doing the same thing. It's because you're getting fitter and stronger, your expenditure becomes less and less and less without you progressing it. So instead of 10,000 steps, aim for 12,000 steps. Let's say nutrition point. Let's say that your current deficit rate is 1,600 calories. But that was the method that you worked out when you first started this, when the weight was 5 kg heavier. Every 5 kg, adjust the calorie targets, because you're adjusting those calorie targets. You're only going to be in a new realm of your new deficit based on your current stats versus your past stats. So you're only ever looking to increase this by 1%. Then the last one. So this is like the journey behind Beyond Coaching. And this is a kind of really good focus point that I think everyone should have in terms of their phases. So I'm a big fan of this saying, which basically goes like this, and it is a bit savage. Do one thing very fucking well versus 2 things very fucking bad. What I mean by this, if your current goal is to drop 10 kilograms, stop pushing PBs in the gym. The goal shouldn't be to gain strength. The goal should be to drop body fat. If you're currently prepping for a marathon and then you're smashing out 5 weight sessions in the gym or in a massive deficit, you're just shooting yourself in the foot because you're not letting your body have optimal recovery and you're not prioritizing the marathon. So prioritize one goal first versus trying to spread yourself thin and do too many things at once. We see it time and time again. You can only do one or the other, can't do both simultaneously. So the way we kind of framework this is that in Beyond, the first very phase is phase A. And this is basically a understanding phase where we just need to get to know you inside and out, from your work life, social life, family time, downtime, the current nutrition patterns, training protocols, lifestyle targets, archetypes. So someone who wants to be pushed, someone needs to be pulled, someone needs more TLC. We just need to get to understand you because everyone is so individual. I'm not everyone's cup of tea, 100% get that. Maybe I'm a bit too honest, a bit too ruthless. But on the other side of that, someone needs that in terms of their coach. So that whole first phase A is really adapting to more of the coaching based around yourself, so it evolves around you. The second phase of this is your dieting stage, and we call this your countdown diet. And the goal from that, let's say for example, to drop 10 kilograms, is to drop it as quickly but as sustainably as possible, because the best deficits, the best diets, are the one that you can stick to, which sounds super fucking simple, but it really, really is. If you're trying to go 110 miles an hour 24/7, it's only a matter of time before you crash. So you're much better off going a steady 80 miles an hour consistently than 110 miles an hour inconsistently. But along this countdown diet, it's not straight up dieting, because every now and again you're going to need to replenish, you're going to need to refeed. So we call the little yellow lines here your milestones. And this is basically where you give yourself a refeed, which I'll run you through refeed calories in a sec, to replenish the energy stores, replenish glycogen levels, and just feel ready for the next stage of your deficit. Because it's like a little reward, being like, damn, I've dropped 5 kilograms, let me go enjoy my weekend, still be within a result zone, so I'm not going crazy in your deficit, not going crazy into a surplus, not tracking calories. We're just going to get replenishment in, get fired back up, psychologically reset, and go again for the next stage. Then the last stage behind this is what we call Beyond. And this is all about, now we have you at your most ideal body fat percentage. You're looking freaking insane. You're amazing. You're feeling confident. It's what's next to your physique. So when you have a very lean starting point to go into a building phase, for example, the aesthetics you can build behind that physique, it's pretty fucking insane, just say how it is. Or it could be a performance phase, it could be your first marathon, it could be your first high rocks, whatever that next stage is. It's always easier doing it after being in a successful dieting stage. But the golden rule that we always play is that we keep it within 3 kilograms of your dieting weight. So at no stage you ever feel like you're gaining body fat back, you're feeling heavy, you're feeling lethargic, you're feeling like you're going backwards, because the whole goal for us is you have this result for a lifetime. So through every stage, we're building your knowledge up simultaneously as we go. And the reason we keep it in 3 kilograms, let's say you go through a mega building phase, 20, 30 weeks, we've kept it within 3 kilograms. It's a lean build, so nothing crazy in your calories. all we have to do is flip reverse it 3 kilograms, get you back down to your most ideal comfortable weight with more muscle mass. So we're always keeping it within parameters, keeping it with guidelines. Again, I'm a massive data nerd, so that's how we love to do it around here. The one thing that we always try and avoid is something down here that we call the fuck it zone. And basically what the fuck it zone is, this is where you're just dieted, fatigued, and you're just at the point where you've gone too aggressive too soon, you start resenting a diet, bad habits start slipping in, and ultimately you start going backwards. And this is what we call a yo-yo dieter. So you probably heard that saying beforehand, right? That you can drop 5 kilograms, but you can gain that 5 kilograms just as freaking quick. So the whole goal, again, sustainability beats everything. Those are the foundations. Those are the frameworks that we run and beyond. Next up, we're going to be going through getting your nutrition on tap. So if you red light this one is definitely for you. And I'm going to give you the exact calorie targets that I use literally for every single person at Beyond Coaching when needs be. So if it's the right sense of them, that's what we're going to use. So first up, again, that whole saying, 80% consistently in the diet is better than 110% inconsistently. Just think 80% consistency for the longevity wins the game, wins the result. So first up, how are we going to work out your deficit? All you need to do is take your body weight in pounds, times that by 12, and it's going to be your training day calories. The reason I want you to go a little bit heavier on your training day calories with additional calories is for replenishment, recovery, and satiation. If you're on 1200 calories and you had a mega gym session planned out, that 1200 calories isn't going to last you very far. Hunger levels start building over the course of the day once you've expended that energy in the gym. After you've trained and stimulated your muscles, you need a bit more replenishment in place to help aid recovery. Your deficit calories can go from 8 calories per pound of body weight all the way up to 14.5 calories per pound of body weight. So you're well within a moderate to aggressive deficit. Next up, your protein. Again, satiation and recovery, massively important. Especially if you have a good deal of muscle mass, the last thing that you want is losing that muscle mass. So what we always aim for is for every 2.2 kg or 1 pound, 2.2 grams for every kg or 1 gram for every pound of body weight. So let's say, for example, your body weight is 180 pounds, you want to be aiming for 180 grams of protein every single day. Fats 0.8 per kg, especially if you're a female watching this. So the big thing with me is that I never want anything future you ever being affected. And I've seen it so many times when people drop fats to the bottom because it's an irrelevant macro that they can absorb multiple carbohydrates and protein, gets neglected and hormonal function starts delaying, cycles stop happening, just not the one. And that's a big factor behind it. For guys, you can be a bit more lenient with it in terms of sacrificing it, but testosterone levels, fats is your hormone regulators, you want that in place. And then carbs, they just build up the remainder. So 12 calories per pound of body weight on your training days. That's first up. So take your body weight in pounds, times it by 12. That's your target for 2.2 grams for every kg of body weight or 1 gram for every pound. Fats 0.8 grams every kg of body weight, and carbs make up the remainder. Next up, your rest day calories. We're going to get a little bit more aggressive behind this. Again, a reason behind it. Every single thing I want to give you is have a reason behind that fact in there as well. So your body weight in pounds times that by 10 is actually your rest day calories, not your training day calories. So you can tell I rushed these slides, right? Because that is supposed to be rest day. But again, I'm just doing this one take. So rest day calories. So on rest days, you have the green light to get more aggressive because you're not stimulating your muscles to a new level. And what I'm trying to say by this is that if you went to the gym on rest day calories, you will literally again make yourself more hungry. The benefit of you not training on your rest days and going more aggressive is that because you're not stimulating or pushing expenditure as high as training days, you don't need as many calories back because you're not offsetting your hunger levels. So you're just going a bit more aggressive behind there. Works massively well. With rest day calories, this is a bit wrong, but normally we plug in a bit of a carbs as being a bit more of a priority, so you don't feel like a zombie. But annoyingly, I didn't put the slides in right, but we're going to carry on going. So on the flip of that, next up, your refeeds, which for us, super important. Without replenishment, without you feeling satiated, you're just going to ultimately not be able to stick in that deficit for the long term. So the way we plan your refeeds is like milestone marks. So every 5 kg or 11 pounds that you drop, implement 3 to 5 days of a refeed. 5 days being absolute maximum, and that's if you're really going away. 3 days being a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so you can use the weekend to replenish, enjoy your weekend, and come back ready to go to drop the next 5 kilograms. We're going to take your body weight in pounds and times that by 14. And again, 15 calories per pound of body weight is maintenance calories. 14 calories per pound of body weight is you still slightly within a deficit. So even though you're refeeding, you're increasing your calories, you're still well within the progress zone, but just not to the same extent as your 12 calories on training days or your 10 calories per pound of body weight on rest days. Take your refeeds. You don't need to be a hero and avoid refeeds altogether. If anything, it sets you up massively stronger to start pushing for the next stage of 5 kilograms. A good diagram of thinking about this one. Let's say this is red line is your motivation. Motivation is dropping. The longer you're in a deficit, because it's not easy to sit deficit long term. Your refeed comes along. You dropped your first 5 kilograms. Motivation skyrockets back up, and then you go again for the next 5 kilograms. Perfect. The red line decided to drop. And you keep going on that wavelength. So every 5 kg, replenish, remotivate, psychological reset, and you go again. Next up, training like a ninja. And I use the word ninja because I watched a film last night with ninjas, and fucking cool. So on the back of this, the best way I always think about your training sessions is, again, we just need you to focus on doing one thing very freaking well versus 2 things very freaking bad. So the goal of a fat loss phase and dieting is dropping body fat. You want to push your training sessions to help cater behind this. So what I mean by this, don't go to the gym to push 6 to 8 reps on PBs, because again, you're going to massively offset your hunger levels. You offset your hunger levels, you walk around hungry, cravings start kicking in, and it's a game of discipline in your own mind to not hit the fucking button and just go devour everything in sight. So the way I want you thinking about your training sessions, I've literally given you a full trainer plan for a 4-day split, working every single muscle group. You can just screenshot and go action. And trust me, like the lactic acid, that's literally the burning feeling that you get while training. It's going to be pretty high, because the way I want you training is high volume rep ranges that we're only going to push to 70% of your maximum weight. So at no point are you pushing PBs, we're pushing rep ranges, high sets, high volume. So with this one, day 1 push, which is like chest, shoulders and triceps, in total 16 to 18 sets. And then you're going to rest 45 to 60 seconds for isolation movements, and then we're going to rest 75 seconds on your compound movements. Only one compound form movement in here, which is incline dumbbell bench press. The rest of it is isolation movements. So take a screenshot, enjoy, and be ready for some very sore shoulders, chest, and triceps the following day. Then next one on the back of that, hamstrings and glutes. Even if you're a dude watching this, you definitely need to train your hamstrings and your glutes. It's mega. So on the back of this, total sets 17 to 19 rest, 60 to 75 seconds for strength lift. Strength lift is kind of like isometrics, is like compounds. So for example, barbell RDL would be your strength lift, and then 45 seconds for accessories. Accessories would be everything barbell RDL. And you can see, for example, like 4 sets, 15, 20 reps, pause and squeeze. So you got the sets followed by the reps. Deep ROM is deep range of motion. Slight torso lean, just little bits to help kind of like get the best out of the movement. Glute bridges, feet elevated, more range of motion. Then next up is your pull sessions of day 3. So pull is back, biceps and rear delts. Total sets 18 to 20, rest time 60 to 75 seconds. There's no compound movements in this because you're not adding the deadlifts in there. I think deadlifts has to be one that you have to carefully plan in based on the person's current physique status in terms of like intermediate to advanced. I think if you're a beginner, do not worry too much about deadlifts right now. Just focus on getting a lot of the accessory movements on point. But 100% take a screenshot, put it into action, and be ready for some very sore biceps to say the least, because alternating dumbbell hammer curls to 3 sets, 20 reps, 10 each, it's pretty killer. Reverse curl for 2 sets, 25 reps. Yeah, it's going to burn. Next up, quads. So total set 17 to 18, rest time 60 to 90 seconds. And then again, take a screenshot, enjoy it. Be ready again for some serious dumps. On the back of that, if you need some more levers to pull. So the way I always think about the coaching is what's the next lever that we can pull to enhance your results. So the way I would go about this, let's say that you're maxing out your gym sessions, you're in a very good state of deficit and pushing the weights higher isn't there right now, and you can't push the volume of the weights anymore. Like, you're in a very, very good position. This is when we'll add in post-session cardio. And the way I want you thinking about this is that instead of going for like a time frame of cardio, I want you going for a calorie expenditure target. So for example, it could be 150 calories expended on the Stairmaster post-session, because what we're looking for here is that snowball effect, and that snowball effect is expenditure added up over time. So let's say, for example, to keep the maths easy, you had 5 sessions and you did 100 calories post-session of Stairmaster. That's 500 additional calories expended that week. That's 2,000 calories additional expended that month. And if you plus that by, let's say, additional 5 more months, you're looking at 10,000 calories expended just from cardio alone in a space of 5 months, which again is insane. That's a very good couple of weeks of eating. So post-session cardio, it's a good leave the pool. Don't put it straight away. When the plateau hits, very good leave it to pool. And then the next lever, which I would wait until you start seeing visible abs, is add in ab training in there. Because if you want to have your abs popping, but more visible, definitely recommend these 2 exercises: hanging knee raises. And how this one works is that it's a lower abdominal movement pattern, and then ab wheel rollouts, or decline reverse crunch if you don't have a rollout. I'll put that in there as well: decline reverse crunch. And apologies, my handwriting is terrible. Reverse crunch. So with this, how this one works. So as we're dropping body fat, it tends to be your top 4 abs always showcase first, right? So this is your stomach, this is your body fat, these are your abs. So top 4 abs come through first. It's quite renowned for your bottom 2 abs to be what we call like shallow abs. So the goal is that with this style of training, just focusing on pushing and pulling the lower 2 abdominal muscles, we're just getting that additional 2 abs to come flush, so we have a full-on 6-pack. The level of how much you want to push that 6-pack to is really up to you. But when every single kg you drop, every single time you see the inches come down from the body fat in your stomach, those abs become more visible. The more you train them, the more they'll look trained. And it's like every other muscle group. The more you train your abdominal muscles, the better, and the more you progress them, the further you see the progress in your abdominals. Next up, lifestyle targets that drives progress. So there is a hair in my glasses firstly, so apologies to kind of like cut the flow. But lifestyle targets that drive progress. The way we think about this is that there's a big emphasis on NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Basically means move more. So this is a kind of rough guide based on your scale weight. It is going to vary. A heavier person would expend more calories doing steps versus someone who's lighter on the scales. So for example, if you walk 7,000 steps a day, it's about 5.3 kilometers based on a stride length. 3.3 miles is going to expend 280 calories. That's on the lower end of the scale. 7,000 I'll put as your bare minimum. 15,000 steps is 11.4 kilometers, which is going to be 7.1 miles, is going to burn approximately 600 calories. And again, you're looking for the snowball effect, because if we did for the next 10 days 15,000 steps, you've then amplified your expenditure by 6,000 calories. That's a good 3 to 4 days of eating. So you can see how steps really helps you just amplify that result. So you can take a screenshot, pick a target, stick to it, hit a plateau, boom, you know your next lever to pull, increase your steps. Then, in terms of sleep and water, so one that always goes amiss, but your sleep is going to be a massive part of you getting results, because if you try and go about your day 24/7 with a prominent fatigue, you're just going to end up burning out, crashing, hitting that fuck it zone, and ultimately going backwards. So the goal is to make sure that your quality of sleep is in the best spot possible. Something I really recommend to help out with sleep, 2 things. Magnesium glycinate is going to help you get to like a deeper level of sleep. And then the second one is New Calm, which is new. And if anyone knows Tony Robinson, like mentory guru guy kind of guy, he's a big fan of this as well. Started getting into myself. It basically music, it's like meditation, but it plays with like the wave levels in your brain. Really weird how it works, and it can help you knock off for a better sleep a lot easier. But sleep 7 to 8 hours. The key is routine. So same time to bed, same time you wake up every day. Keep the routine and train your body. Really important. Water, so hydration, absolutely freaking massive. The last thing you want in a dieting period is migraines, headaches, and just feeling burnt out 24/7. So the way you need to play this, for every 20 kilograms of your body weight, you need 1 liter of water. So if you're 60 kilograms currently, you need 3 liters. If you're 80 kilograms, you need 4 liters. If you're 100 kilograms, you need 5 liters. You just need to give your body hydration. And then when you go through a refuel period, increase that water by an additional liter just to help, again, replenish everything in the system. Then on the back of that, tracking and breaking plateaus. So the 3 levels of tracking that I think is non-negotiable, that I think everyone should abide by, because again, the more data you have about your body, the better results you will achieve. First one, scale weight. Daily average is the one we're taking across the course of the week, but how you take scale weight is every single morning, first thing fasted. After you've gone to the bathroom, no clothes on, no watches, no jewelry, just literally your raw physique. Again, be okay seeing fluctuations, because that's going to happen. It's part and parcel of fat loss. It's never going to be linear. There's going to be little spikes on the road, we call like a floppy fish. As long as it's going downwards, we're nowhere seeing results. In guys, you will see less fluctuations. In ladies, females, you're going to see a lot more fluctuations. Just part and parcel of hormones and cycles. Whenever you go through your cycle, expect to gain a kilogram on the scales, but that's not body fat. That's probably just hormonal and water weight. But a lot of things do affect your scale weight: sleep, stress, digestion. That's why your lifestyle plays such a big part. Progression pics. So it's one thing seeing the results on the scales, but if you're not seeing it in your progression shots, it's a whole different story. Because I've never met anyone drop 20 kilograms, go to a wedding and bring their scales with them to show off. It's never going to happen. People are going to be commenting how great you look, not how great your scales look. Compliancy, so this is basically making your checklist. So let's say you set your non-negotiables as 5 sessions a week, 10,000 steps every single day, on point at 80% towards your calories. That's kind of like a non-negotiable check sheet. Your compliancy is how much I completed this out of 100%. If you are, as long as you're above 80%, you should be seeing results. 20% is more flexibility, 80%, that's non-negotiable. But 3 metrics to track week on week on week. Then on the back of that, if you go through plateau period, this is the way I want you to think about it. If there's no drop in 3 weeks, so give it the 3-week rule. If you don't see results in 3 weeks, this first thing that we do beyond team, identify it, ramp up the progress, make sure the compliance is in a good spot, and see what levers that we can pull. But you need to ramp up the aggression. It's actually a good thing when you start seeing plateaus, because it means that you're ready for the next level and your physique needs to be kept on being pushed. So that could be against steps, training volume, cardio, calorie drop. There's so many levers that you can pull. Just pull one of them, test it for the week, see how it goes. Still not moving? Cool. Let's go pull 2 more levers and just keep pushing that aggression. If you're not compliant, it's the fix of your lifestyle, not your training, potentially your nutrition there as well. Calorie adherence, but the main one's going to be your sleep and stress, because when you are sleep deprived, when you are stressed, you make more irrational decisions, cravings are higher, fatigue is higher. The biggest one is go get a good night's sleep, and you'll probably feel so much better to go tackle your deficit the following day. Then 5 more slides, deadlines and milestones. So this is one of my favorite things that we do to Beyond Team, is create urgency behind the results. Because when we think of point A to point B, it's a long freaking line. And if you don't know that time frame behind it, and you've just got a set goal, you want to drop 10 kilograms, but there's no time frame, there's no urgency to get pushed that result. Think back to when everyone was in school. If you had homework, well, I say that, like I was terrible when it came to homework, but if you had a deadline at work, let's take this one for example, you work in the corporate world, you got a massive freaking deadline, it's £1 million deal, like you need to be on point with it. I guarantee you'll have every single thing boxed off way before that deadline hits, because there's a lot more pressure behind it, there's urgency behind it. Same with your fat loss results. Create necessary urgency by giving yourself a time frame. It could be a wedding, photo shoot, holiday, could be anniversary, whatever it may be. Set the deadline, and then we can work backwards in how many weeks we have until we need to get that result by the deadline. But the perk of you doing this is that when we, for example, say like this point A to point B is 100 days, and we need to drop 10 kilograms. We know every 10 days, we need to have 1 kg drop. That math is very simple, for example, but if every 10 days, I need to be 1 kg down to hit my target in 100 days. Then the milestone marks. So going from point A to point B for 100 days is a long period of time. So every time you hit a new milestone, which for 100 days, I'll play it as 2.5 milestone marks. So 2.5 down, 2.5 down, 2.5 down, and then golden result. This is when I'll implement a refeed block to re-energize. So you're just shortening that window. And when the gap is shorter, adherence is higher. Shorten the gap, hit the milestone, refeed, re-energize, and push on again. This method really is massive for our results. Then supplements. So the last thing I want is you going spending £100+ on supplements. So with this, it's more take what you feel like you need versus taking everything, because you don't want to be walking around like a tit tac. Like, you just need to understand what your body needs. And the best thing I always say to everyone who doesn't know what their body needs, get a blood test. Get a blood test and find out what your deficiency is. But definitely drop a screenshot of this. So supplements, why we use it, and notes. So whey protein, it's going to make it easier to hit your protein target daily. Use post-workout or for meal and in snacks. Creatine. So creatine is great for buildings and performance. When you get to the latter stage of a deficit, if you want to drop some water weight, drop the creatine. But for strength, muscle tension, performance, 5 grams daily, doesn't matter when. I would have it first thing in the morning personally, because it is quite nitty-gritty. Omega-3, so fish oils, again, super powerful. If you don't have a tendency to have fish in your diet, it's great for inflammation and joint health. It's the best anti-inflammatory out there. Vitamin D3. So if you're watching this in the UK, apologies, but you probably have a vitamin D deficiency. Just to say it how it is. It's just always freaking raining. So vitamin D3, energy, mood, hormonal support, especially if indoors or low sun exposure, or you live in the UK. Magnesium glycinate, so sleep quality for stress management. Take it about 1 to 2 hours before bed. Electrolytes, hydration during diet phases, massive for me in this one. So always have your electrolytes, hydrate with a litre of water before you have your first caffeine intake, because you'll make your first cup of coffee like freaking rocket fuel, and then caffeine overall. So this isn't, for example, your cappuccinos from Starbucks with your sugar-free hazelnut syrup and your chocolate sprinkles. Unfortunately, even though that sounds amazing. Black coffee. So black coffee and a sweetener is going to help massively kill hunger cues. If you're ever feeling like you're hungry and it's in the AM, get a black coffee down you. I guarantee that appetite will massively just die down a little bit. So on the back of that, again, zero pitch from this. The whole goal was just give you as much value as possible. How this even came about is that me and my wife Molly was away this week, and she was like, why don't you just do like a little mini webinar for everyone to go watch, and they can understand more about how you coach. And I was like, cool. Sounds good. So made this today, shot this today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. So again, zero pitch. But if you want a case study of like real time of exactly how we get the results, but actually using the full behind the scenes. So for example, this is the methods and the madness behind how we get the results. But the case studies itself will be me showing you exactly Jazz's trainer split, exactly Jazz's calorie targets, exactly Icky's trainer split, exactly Icky's calorie targets, showing you the actual coaching itself. Just drop me a DM with either Jazz or Icky and I'll send it straight over. But on the back of that, any questions about any of this, please drop it over. Like, I'm massively introverted, but I'm an open book. So if you've got any questions about any of what I've gone through, any suggestions, any feedback, please let me know, because if this gets a good response, I'd happily keep doing it because it was quite fun. But hopefully, well, I say hopefully, if you go implement this, you're going to get results. I'm that fucking confident. So any questions, give me a shout. Enjoy it. Enjoy the DOMs, enjoy the calories, and I'll catch all of you very soon.